to Radiant Living, Inspiring Humanity to Thrive. I'm Marisa B, and today I have with me multidisciplinary artist, art teacher, and art marketing coach, Lauren Curtis. Her work has been featured both in the United States and internationally. With a fine arts degree from Mason Gross School of the Arts, Lauren creates art which expresses her love for nature, wildlife, the importance of respecting our environment, travel, and all things spiritual. Her creations acknowledge the fusion between symbolism and mythology. She blends the ancient cultures with the modern. Hi, Lauren. Thank you so much for coming today.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I find your work so interesting. I'd like to first of all ask you, how did you get started in the arts? Because you have been an artist for many years now.
Yeah, pretty much my whole life. When I was a little kid, my dad was a really great artist. He had actually wanted to be an artist as a career, but went on to become a microbiologist because of his love of science and helping people. But he always continued to do artwork. So he was my very first teacher when I was very young. And luckily enough, I did have both parents that supported my interest in art.
Mhm.
So when I was a little older, I had private art lessons. I had some fantastic high school art teachers, which is
Mhm.
hard to find these days. You know, arts funding is always getting cut, but
Yes.
yeah, I did really have some amazing art teachers throughout junior high and high school. Um, and I remember when I was in seventh grade, I made the decision I wanted to be an artist. I
Mhm.
knew ever since then. Um, so I went on to be selected for a honors graphic design program at Parsons School of Design in New York when I
Yes.
was a senior in high school. I took courses at Ducre School of the Arts,
Hmm.
and then went on to get my BFA from Mason Gross School of
Yes.
Art at Rutgers University and graduated in 1988.
Yes. So I knew you had gone to Mason Gross School of the Arts, which is a fabulous school. And but you're also an art teacher.
Yep.
And you make a career out of art and teaching. And your subject matter is um very specialized. You deal with a lot of many spiritual aspects, but a lot of the nature religions
Mm.
as well. And I know that you encompass, well, because you're multidimensional art, yeah, multidimensional artist that no, multidisciplinary artist. So you deal with photography as well as working in different medium. And I think you do collage as well. Can you explain a
Yep.
little bit about some of your art?
Sure. Um, I love travel. I love nature and wildlife. And also mythology. Ever since I was a kid, going to museums, I've always been fascinated with world mythology, in particular, Egyptian, Greco-Roman, Celtic, among others as
Mhm.
well. They're all interconnected with their
Mhm.
stories. So I started doing a lot of research, which led me to actually become an eclectic Wiccan when I was about 18 years old. Uh, Wicca is the complete embracing of
Mhm.
nature, respecting your environment. Um, the power of the male and the female are
Mhm.
equal. That's why there's many goddesses as well as gods.
Mhm.
Um, and that just was in a tune with my belief system. It also respects all cultures. That's another reason I'm considered an eclectic Wiccan, because I
Mhm.
don't just follow one specific mythological or spiritual path. I like to research many different ones,
Mhm.
and then take what resonates and kind of combine them. And upon research, you find that, everything from the Bible to the Tibetan Book of the Dead, to the Bhagavad Gita, like all the
Mhm.
stories, you can see many similarities between deities, how one culture borrowed from another, borrowed from another. They all stem from the same basic source of, the female energy and male energy, God and
Mhm.
goddess, Lord and Lady. So my artwork started reflecting that. So a lot of my work revolves around goddess imagery, mythological imagery from various cultures,
Mhm.
um, symbolism. I'm fascinated
Mhm.
by different symbol systems, whether it's alchemical,
Yes.
runic, tarot, all those things. And again, they all kind of circle around each other, have things that are interrelated, but then the differences are equally as fascinating. So seeing what's the same and then what's different in various cultures and ancient symbol systems, I find to be really interesting. So, and then it all incorporates, nature as well, and travel, because when you experience other cultures, then you learn about their history, their myths, their symbols. So it kind of all works together in my artwork.
And also, you make it a point to mingle the modern spirituality with all of this symbolism, correct? Because it's not just from the past, studying mythology, studying symbols from the past, but you're actually melding it more or less with modern spirituality and modern spirituality movements that have occurred.
Yeah.
Now, can you tell me a little bit about how your artwork, because of course I know that you're a teacher and I know that your artwork has a component of healing for people. Can you explain a little bit about that? How exactly, I mean, we know, well, we that deal with art and the healing arts say that the arts matter and the arts provide healing for people, but I'd like to hear from an actual artist who does deal with that.
Oh, sure. Well, first of all, I'm a private art teacher, so I give either in-person lessons from my home studio, or I work remotely with people all over the country and as far away as I've had students in London and Greece in the past, virtually. But I like doing one-on-one lessons, and the healing aspect is a big reason for that, because then you can be in tune with exactly that person's artistic needs, what they're interested in creativity, creatively, what they need to get out of the art lessons. They don't have to worry about, feeling pressure, competition, or not as good as, there's no other students when I give my lessons. It's just me and them. So, each lesson is geared towards each particular student, and where they're at, both artistically and emotionally. So I find it really rewarding, because I actually have many autistic students of many different ages. I've had students that have dealt with substance abuse. I've had students that have dealt with cancer, with mental illness. I have students that have chronic pain and physical illness. And it helps them all, because for one, it gives them an outlet to express what's going on. Art is not all happy flowers, smiley, like art can express pain, anger, fear, as well as joy, happiness, spirituality. So a lot of students use it as self-expression. I find, especially with autistic students, it's a really good way that they open up and can express themselves with emotion, when a lot of times they can't in other ways. Art is a huge outlet for people on the spectrum in different ways to be able to express themselves and have themselves seen and heard, and show their intelligence and their creativity. I mean, they're all too often, seen as less than or weird, and they're not. They're super smart, they're super they're just different. There's nothing less than, there's nothing wrong with them.
Of course.
They just see,
they're just different. They see the world differently. They see the world differently, and they interact with the world differently. And I'm assuming that for them, the art gives them permission to speak what's on their mind, because oftentimes they're told not to. Because they don't do it right. They're not doing it in the correct fashion.
And I've been super impressed with like the creativity of autistic students. And even if they, and some have like amazing skill, they're actually like above their age and, in skill level. And then, others that might not, be able to draw as well, like their imagination is fantastic, like their ideas, the creativity. So, and I really love encouraging those people and making them feel good about themselves and confident. And it helps them, in their day-to-day lives, building that confidence or giving them a way to communicate and express their feelings and emotions when maybe they can't,
Right.
verbally, this lets
Right.
them do that.
And what about, you said that you had students that had suffered from substance abuse at one time or another. I mean, that is another powerful tool for them, art,
Yeah.
wouldn't you say?
Oh, for sure. It can be used as, again, like just getting things out, getting the upset emotions, the deal, how they deal with addiction. It's almost like visual journaling. They say like
Yes.
journaling helps people to get things
Yes.
out on paper. So it's kind of like doing that, but just doing it visually, which, and it
Yes.
could be, journaling too, because a lot of times text
Right.
can be incorporated. So, there's been a couple of people that have done it almost like a visual kind of a diary. Other ones that they actually would learn some art techniques in counseling that they were going to for like, AA or NA, whatever they were
Yes.
dealing with. And then they would bring those projects to our lessons, and I would help them, make them as good as they can be and
Right.
express what they wanted to express as best as possible. Other techniques I've done with people is drawing or painting to music. So really, there's no right or wrong. Anything goes. So it's completely freeing. It's completely emotional. There's no judgment. They get to pick whatever music they want, whatever resonates with them and their mood. And I've had several students love that and say that it really
that
helps
must be
relax
fascinating.
them. Yeah.
That the mixing of music with the visual art that you're doing. Never thought about that. That's a good structure.
Yeah.
To offer.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I like to just be open to different types of techniques. And I mean, just to clarify, like I don't claim to be an art therapist. I don't have
no, I know
in
that,
art, but just from lesson, teachers that I've had have done a lot of these techniques with me in art school. Research.
Well, you're
I've done,
providing the
books
art.
I've
You're
read.
providing the outlet for the art. Right. Because
Right.
as a therapist, and I do use visual arts, creative arts, but there's only so much time.
Right.
And you're in that therapeutic environment. It's freeing for a lot of clients when they go off on their own and do it on their own, or
Right.
in an art class, whether it's a class just by themselves or with a group. I know that often they prefer by themselves because that one-on-one contact, they can speak maybe a little bit more freely to the teacher. But because we have confining time periods with therapy, so and you want them to get the best that art has to offer for them. You don't want to stifle anyone. So, I mean, that's why I love what you do. But of course, you're an artist in your own right, because you've shown really pretty much, you have shown it. Well, first of all, you do portraits too. So you do animal portraits. You do a lot of portraits, but I know you do people, but you specialize in animal portraits.
Yeah, for sure.
As well, or you've become known for animal portraits. But
I love doing animal portraits. Yeah.
Yes, and so you also have shows yourself as an artist. You're often in a lot of galleries. I think you're on also online in galleries, correct? Because since the pandemic, things have switched a little bit, switched gears, right? So it's not so much always brick and mortar galleries, but I know you've been in both. So how are you balancing that? Because you do have a lot of students, so you do have a lot of actual, if you want to say, work that you do on a weekly basis. But then when do you find time to do your art?
I mean, that is an issue sometimes. I also am a freelance illustrator. So right now I'm actually illustrating 2 books, a novel, an adult novel, not, specifically for any age group, but, it's not for little kids.
Right.
And I am illustrating a children's book, and I just finished another children's book. I love illustrating children's books because it's just really fun and very, very different from the work I create for myself. It's very silly, bright colors, cutesy, fun, but I just think art and reading are really important for
Hmm.
kids, and physical books, so
Hmm.
I really enjoy doing that. Um, and I just finished another pet portrait actually that I just mailed out 2 days ago. So that work has to come first because I get
Hmm.
paid for that,
Yes.
so sometimes it does kind of eclipse, the work that I have
Hmm.
time to do for myself. But with digital work and photography, I do a lot of photographic type of work and digital photo collages,
Hmm.
because they're a lot less time consuming and
Hmm.
easier to do for me. So
Hmm.
I'm always working on that kind of stuff, on my photos and things. As far as paintings, I try to do at least a few paintings for myself a
Hmm.
year, but I am very lucky to have a lot of steady freelance work.
Hmm.
So it just keeps me creating no matter
Hmm.
what. Even if I'm getting paid for it, I still want to
Yes.
do my best. I'm still drawing or painting something
Hmm.
almost every day, even if it's for a client, so I have found, since now I'm teaching, Monday through Friday, I'm doing a lot less exhibits, especially in
Hmm.
person exhibits, just because, the time is being filled by
Hmm.
teaching. That's how I'm earning a living. So,
Hmm. And it's a physical thing, right? I mean, when especially
yeah,
brick and mortar galleries, if you're not shipping to them, you're driving to them, your
yeah,
work. Yeah.
yeah.
So it is time consuming.
Yeah, absolutely. I am in one show now. It's coming down, I think, in like a week or so, in a Alpha Art Gallery in New Brunswick. I've been working with them for, I don't even know, it's got to be well over 15
Hmm.
years. And I have a piece in a virtual show that from this place called Persona Land, that I've been
Hmm.
working with virtually for several years now. Um, and then I just submitted to another gallery in South Brunswick, New Jersey, and I'm just waiting to hear their decision if I'm accepted to that. So, local shows I could still do
Hmm.
pretty easily because I don't have to drive it too far,
That far,
you
right.
know, and
But
the
now
ship
let me
and
ask you,
shipping
all
art's so
this.
expensive.
Oh, it is. Well, it is, especially now, right? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, the cost of shipping anything, let alone art, because it's
yeah,
heavy.
yeah.
But now you're doing all of this, but yet what I find fascinating is that you actually are I should say, an art marketing coach, which is
Hmm.
so, um, first of all, I find it's wonderful because I think it's needed because there are so many artists out there that really need help to,
Yeah,
I guess, get themselves started, get themselves maybe promoted. They do the
right.
work, but they can't. And I thought that that was wonderful. When do you find time to do that? Because that is another full-time job that you have as an art marketing coach. Can you
Well,
explain a little bit
that's
about that?
yeah, I mean, that's part of the teaching. So like some of my students are art students,
Mm-hmm.
some of them are marketing students, and
Mm-hmm.
some are a little bit of both. So it
Mm-hmm.
all just falls into
Yes.
teaching, because it's
Because that's
all
a
done
big
the same
job.
way.
That's like I if I when I and I know artists and I know many artists. And I've worked in the art field with therapy, but in the art field, volunteering and also being almost like a mentor for people that were using art to deal with their mental illness, and so
Right,
supervising that, and to think all of the work behind the physical work behind running a business that's yours, that's art, is very
right,
difficult. So an artist wants to do the art, but they really have to know all about the business, and
right,
that's a big undertaking that you've taken over to train people. I think that's wonderful because I don't think there are that many people out there that do that, that actually
right,
make
right.
it a point to coach artists, all artists of all walks of life, how to get started, because it's a big task, and especially nowadays with both online, right, and
Yeah,
in person.
yeah, yeah,
So that you say is part of the students that you have on a regular basis. Yeah.
yeah. So basically, I took art marketing courses from a woman in New York when I realized, I wanted to just stop my jobs, in
Hmm.
the quote unquote regular world. Like I really wanted to be an artist full time.
Hmm.
So I probably took art marketing lessons, and this was before really like, the internet and everything was big.
Yes.
So I was doing it by phone for probably about 2 years. But my mother had her own children's clothing store that she started from scratch on her own from our basement and grew it into a full-on store that she ran by herself for 13 years. And I worked for her. And then I also worked at an internship in a New York gallery in Soho. In college, then I worked for a big corporate gallery, my first job out of college, and I was there for several years.
Then I have to say that's how we met. I'm going to say that's how we met years ago. We like to not say when, but years ago. That's how we met. Yes,
which is crazy. It was so long.
I know, to think about it, right? So, my gosh, where did all those years go? Right, we were in our 20s,
and here we are now.
All these years later.
Yeah, and after working there for many years, and I went on to do fundraising for nonprofit, environmental, and consumer rights organizations. So I had a huge background in sales and marketing, and I translated those, and gallery work. So I just translated those skills and applied them to my own art career, and, you know, trial and error learning. And it worked because I became a full-time artist. I support myself with my art. You know, now I'm teaching other people. It's been over 20 years. And so what I found was that people kept asking me for advice. You know, artists kept asking me for advice. And galleries kept telling me, you know, you're such a pleasure to work with because you have everything we asked for, like immediate, like we never have to ask you for anything. Like you always follow the instructions, you get that, like, you know, I'm super organized. So I was like, all right, people keep asking me for free advice and galleries are telling me that they enjoy working with me. I think it's time that, you know, I offer my marketing services and start getting paid for it, because it was like, you know, 25 years of my life that I built up those skills, and I paid for it. I paid for marketing coach lessons, you know. So and I started doing that, and I have you know, a few marketing students that have been with me for years. Like I help them get their website up, I help them build their social media pages, build their following, I help get them shows, I help them with ideas.
Yeah, you work with everything, right?
Yeah,
you work
their logo
everything.
design, their marketing layout, their branding, like the whole 9 yards, you know.
And so how can somebody get a hold of you? Do you have a website, first of all, for this? Do you have a website for the teaching?
I don't have a separate website for the teaching, because you could just find me there, you know. But basically, if you just Google Lauren Curtis Art, LaurenCurtisArt, all together, no spaces, you'll find my Facebook profile, my Facebook business page, my Instagram page, and my websites. I have a few different websites. Some are geared more for illustration and graphic design. Others are my fine art sites. So like LaurenCurtisArt.com. And I believe if you go to LaurenCurtisArt.com, it's set up where there's links to a bunch of my other sites from that hub.
I'll put all that in the description box, because I'm sure people are going to want to know, especially for artists looking for assistance, especially young artists, where they're nervous about where to even start. So I will definitely list it in the description box, all of your links.
And on Google
then you
and Bing.
Go ahead.
I have Google and Bing listings for Lauren Curtis Art too, that has
so when they come up, when they come up, it's there. Your work number is there when it's Googled. Exactly. And now, can we see some of your art? I know that you actually have your own art hanging sometimes. So can we see some of your art? Is that a possibility? I'd like for somebody to see.
If you don't mind me walking the phone around.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead. I'd love to see.
So give me a sec to unplug. And I don't want this to be like a weird transition. So I'll walk with you. And it'll get dark for a second because I have to put the light on. All right. And let me put another light on. One good thing about working from home, it's like my own studio. So I will turn the camera around.
Oh, look at that. Oh, how lovely.
So this is from Egyptian mythology. This is old. This is from 1993. Kind of zooming in a little bit. This is
And
a high
they're large
priestess.
pieces. That's beautiful. And they're large pieces.
Yeah, these are larger. The high priestess is a lot smaller. That's
Right.
from I think 1999. Then here's a whole
Lovely.
bunch of my mixed media,
Oh, I love those. Those are lovely.
some photography
Mm.
work. Hopefully, you could see everything kind of
Yes, and I don't even know
clearly.
where you find the time to do all that and teach students full time.
All my plants. Up here, another painting. I hopefully you could see it.
Yes, I can. Lovely.
And what this is another older piece here.
Now, do you
This
have
is a
a gallery that features you? Is that the one in New Jersey that features your work? Or do you have an online
um
gallery that features your work?
so I do show regularly with Alpha Art in New
Hmm.
Brunswick, New Jersey.
Hmm.
I do a lot of shows with several different locations
Hmm.
in Metuchen, New Jersey.
Hmm.
Um
And that I'm sure you
Online.
have listed. I'm sure you list your website has that information, the current information where your
Yeah,
shows are.
yeah, on one of my main websites, which is laurencurtisart.weebly,
Hmm.
weebly.com.
Hmm.
It has all my current exhibitions, all my current events. I do vending sometime, and
Hmm.
it has my full CV on there as well. So yeah, all my art exhibit
Hmm.
information is on that site for sure. Yeah.
And I can't go without asking about the nails because I know you were in the Guinness Book of Records,
No, no,
right?
I was in Ripley's
No?
Believe It or Not.
Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Yeah,
Can you tell
yeah,
us? Can
I'm not the world record holder.
Oh, you're
No.
not? No, but
No,
I say you
no.
were in Ripley's. Can you show our audience the nails? Because it is something.
Get ready, people.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is, I don't know how you do art with it. And I'm sure
I'm
people have asked you,
yeah. No,
just
I'm so used to them, they don't get in the way. I'm so used to, but no, I was in Ripley's Believe It or Not. I was in the newspaper cartoon, like the cartoon drawing they do with people in
Mhm.
I think it was like in 2014, and then I was actually in the book as a feature in 2016 because
Mhm.
it changes every year. They have
Yes.
different people.
Right, right. They
Um,
do that.
but
Yes.
I'm not the world record holder. I did know the woman now. I don't know her, but the previous world record holder, I did know her. She was
Oh,
really
wow.
nice, and she finally had to cut them down. But no, I'm not I cannot claim to be the
No.
world record
But
holder because
Ripley's,
I'm not.
believe it or not, that's still pretty big. And they are
Yeah,
very long. I can't even imagine how you do all the work, but you do because you've had them for
yeah.
many years, correct? You've had
Oh,
them a
I've
long
been
time.
yeah over 30 years. Yeah, I've been on
Yeah.
TV a few times with them,
Yes.
and yeah. So it's been kind of fun. Some people are freaked out; they don't get it. That's fine. You don't have to get it, but it's just something I started
That you do.
doing,
That's it. Yeah.
and it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
It
Well, you
was
know what
not
everybody says,
pre-planned.
you do
Yeah,
you and I do me. That's how it is. That's how life goes. Right? That's what
exactly.
makes us all unique. So,
Appreciate the differences. That's my motto.
yes,
Appreciate what makes people
absolutely.
different. It's
That's right.
important.
And respect it.
And
Respect
respected.
it.
If everyone was the
It's
same, it
just
would be really boring.
It would be. It would
Yeah,
be. But
yeah.
I do want to thank you for coming on because I know that you work so hard and you're so busy and you were able to fit us in. I was thrilled that the audience could get a chance to hear just a little bit about your work. But hopefully we'll be able to see you on the show again. And I definitely would
That'd be
love to come
great.
out to the galleries and to see how that's all going. Because it's always interesting. I mean, I see your work online every time I can peek. And of
Yeah.
course I have to say I purchased a pet portrait as a gift.
Oh,
So
nice.
yes, so I'm a fan, and the person that I gifted it to loves the pet portrait.
Oh, that's
So
great.
yes,
That's
yeah,
excellent.
yeah. So again, thank you so much for coming, and
Thank you
I will.
so much for
Oh,
having me.
oh, you're quite welcome, and I will speak with you soon.
Definitely. Thank you again.
Bye now.
Bye. Take care.